guys, welcome back to. Excuse me for a moment. So, welcome back to another episode of Tales of Olympus, and you'll realize that I sound happy, and most times, all of the time, but today I am extremely happy because I have finished my exams and have got pretty good scores on it. So we can continue our 12 labor stories of Heracles from last time. Wait for a moment. Right. So, this is Heracles Part 2. A journey through every task this legendary hero had to complete to earn forgiveness from the gods. And before we begin, I need to say a few things that our YouTube channel, well, no one probably watched it or anyways, but I'm just saying that I'm not just going to be posting like audio with, subtitles or something because I think that's a little boring. So I will do something else. The next video is coming next week since I'm having a summer vacation, so yeah, I can do lots of episodes every day. No, not every day, or I'll just faint. Yeah. So, let's begin the story. Last time, we learned how Heracles was born from a trick played by Zeus, trained by Chiron, and cursed by Hera with madness. That curse made Heracles accidentally destroy everything he loved. Now, as a punishment, he must complete 12 impossible challenges given to him by the cowardly King Eurystheus. Each laborer is more dangerous than the last. Heracles will face monsters, magic, betrayal, and even the underworld itself. So buckle up, mythlings. It's time to begin labor number 1. Heracles stood before Eurystheus, King Eurystheus, who smirked and said, "Let's see how strong you really are. Your first labor is to slay the Nemean Lion, a beast so terrifying, no weapon can harm it. Good luck, hero." So Heracles set off for the valley of Nemea, where the monstrous lion lived. I personally love lions. Well, normal lions, not monster-like lions. Anyways, but this wasn't just any lion. This lion's fur was stronger than iron, sharper than a blade, and no sword, spear, or arrow can pierce it. Its claws were like knives, and its roar echoed like thunder. Ah! That's me. Villages nearby lived in fear. When Heracles found it, he tried shooting arrows, but they bounced off. He tried using a sword, and the sword broke. So what did he do? Heracles threw down his weapons, let out a roar of his own, "Rah!" and charged the lion with his bare hands. The lion leapt, but Heracles caught it in midair and wrestled it to the ground, and with the strength of 100 men, strangled it to death. But even in victory, the lion's skin was too tough to remove. Heracles couldn't cut it, until the goddess Athena appeared, disguised as an old woman. She whispered, "Use the lion's claw to cut its own hide." And it worked. Heracles skinned the beast and made its hide into a cloak, and the lion's head became his helmet. From that day on, he wore it into every battle. No armor was stronger. When he returned to the king, Eurystheus was tired. But not tired, terrified. He had a big jar built to hide inside, just in case Heracles ever turned on him. And that was labor 1. And Heracles was just getting started. And King Eurystheus wasn't happy. Heracles had defeated the Nemean Lion, a creature no one else could face. So this time, the king gave him an even deadlier task. Your second labor, he said, is to slay the Ceryneian Hydra, a serpent beast with multiple heads. Good luck. The Hydra lived in the swamps of Lerna, a cursed and poisonous place. It had 9 heads, and some say even more, and one of them was immortal. It could never die. As Heracles approached the Hydra's lair, the air smelled like poison. Even breathing too long could kill a man. But Heracles didn't back down. Step into the swamp, and there it was. A massive serpent, hissing and thrashing. Heads twisting like lightning. The Hydra leapt at him, and the battle began. Heracles swung his sword. Slice! 1 head fell, but 2 grew back. He tried again, another head off, and 2 more heads appeared. Heracles was surrounded. That's when he called for help. His loyal nephew, Iolaus, wait, let me check the meaning. How to pronounce? To pronounce Iolaus. Okay, so Iolaus. Iolaus. The nephew's name was Iolaus, came rushing in with a torch. Together they came up with a plan. Heracles would chop, and Iolaus would burn the neck before it could grow back. It worked. One by one, they removed the heads and sealed the stumps with fire, but the immortal head still remained. Heracles lifted his golden club and smashed it with all his might, then buried it under a massive rock, trapping it forever. Finally, the Hydra was dead, but the swamp stayed cursed, even to this day. As a final move, Heracles dipped his arrows in the Hydra's poison. So, from now on, every arrow he fired would be deadly beyond repair. But when Heracles returned, Eurystheus refused to count this labor. You had help, he said. Iolaus burned the necks. That's cheating. So now Heracles would have to complete not 10 but 12 labors all over again. And anyone want to guess what the next labor is? Here's a hint. It has something to do with Artemis. Sorry for a moment. There's something wrong with the microphone or something. And okay. Labor 3 was the Ceryneian Hind. Actually, wait for a moment, will you please excuse me? Okay, so it was the Ceryneian Hind. The golden deer of Artemis. Heracles had fought monsters, but this next labor, it wasn't about strength. It was about patience. King Eurystheus said, your next task is to bring me the Ceryneian Hind, a golden deer so fast it can outrun an arrow. But be careful. It belongs to the goddess Artemis. Artemis, the goddess of the hunt, loved this deer. It had golden antlers, bronze hooves, and was sacred. meaning if you hurt it, Artemis would come after you. Heracles didn't want to kill it. He had to be clever. So he began tracking the hind through forest, over mountains, across rivers for a whole year. Yes, one full year of chasing a magical deer. Finally, one morning, as the hind paused to drink from a river, Heracles took his chance. He gently fired an arrow between its tendons, not killing it, just slowing it down. Then he wrapped it in soft rope and whispered, "I'm sorry, but I must take you." But as he carried the hind back, guess who appeared? Artemis herself, tall, powerful, and glowing with silver moonlight. "Who dares steal my sacred creature?" she asked, furious. Heracles fell to his knees and said, "Artemis, I swear, I did not wish to harm it. I was ordered by a mortal king. I honor your deer, and I will return it unharmed." Artemis narrowed her eyes, then slowly smiled. "Very well, Heracles. Take it to the king, but only if you promise to return it immediately." Heracles agreed. When he reached King Eurystheus, the king shouted, "Give it to me!" But Heracles said, "Okay, come take it from yourself." As the king stepped forward, Heracles let the deer go, and it leapt away, vanishing into the forest. The king was furious, but there was nothing he could do. That's labor 3, done with cleverness and not strength. For his next labor, King Eurystheus grinned and said, "Bring me the Erymanthian Boar, the beast of the mountains with tusks like spears. Capture it alive." The boar lived on Mount Erymanthus, in a land of snowstorms and wild winds. It was huge, fast, and could tear trees out of the ground with its snout. Villagers were terrified of it. On his way to the mountain, Heracles stopped by the home of an old friend, a kind centaur named Pholus. Pholus welcomed him warmly and offered him cooked meat. But Heracles said, "Where is the wine of the centaurs?" Pholus warned him, "It's a sacred wine. If I open it, the other centaurs will smell it, and they don't like guests." But Heracles insisted. They opened the wine, and boom! The smell reached every centaur nearby. Soon, angry centaurs came charging in. A huge fight broke out, and sadly some centaurs were hurt. Even Pholus accidentally dropped a poisoned arrow on his own foot and died. Heracles mourned his friend, but he still had a mission. He climbed Mount Erymanthus, found the giant boar, and chased it through the icy snowdrifts for hours. Finally, he trapped it in a deep pit, tied it up, and dragged it alive back to the king. Eurystheus saw Heracles covered in snow, dragging a roaring wild boar. He was so scared he jumped right back into his big jar again. And that's another labor complete. For his fifth labor, King Eurystheus said, "I'm tired of monsters. Let's see if you can clean something. Your next labor is to clean the Augean Stables in a single day." Sounds easy, right? Wrong! The Augean Stables belonged to King Augeas, who had thousands of cattle, but hadn't cleaned their stables in over 30 years. The mess was so big, so disgusting, the river nearby was starting to smell like cow poop. Ew! Heracles arrived and asked King Augean. No, King Augeas. The king laughed and said, "Sure, if you can do it, I'll give you 10% of my cattle." He didn't believe Heracles could do it, but Heracles had a genius idea. Instead of using a broom or a shovel, he knocked 2 holes in the 2 walls of the stable, one on each side. Then he went to 2 nearby rivers, the Alpheus and the Peneus, and rerouted the rivers to flow straight through the stables. In a few minutes, whoosh! The water blasted through, washing away decades of filth, mud, and poop. The stables were sparkling clean, and Heracles barely even broke a sweat. King Augeas refused to pay him. "You cheated! You used rivers!" he shouted, even though he had agreed. Later, Heracles would come back and deal with Augeas again, but for now the labor was done. Even though Eurystheus tried to disqualify it again, the gods knew the truth. Heracles had completed it, using brains and brawn. And let's take a short break over here. And while we're taking a break, I'm giving a few shout outs to people who, left a comment. No, whether on Apple, First Story, Spotify, or something else. So, okay, this one comes from Sheen W. Chiu. SHINWCHIU. Oh, wait, no, sorry. It's SSHINNCHIU. Okay. What do you say over here? Let me see. Excuse me, sorry, excuse me, dear, oh yeah, sorry. Oh, actually, wait, that has something wrong with it. Let me say it again. It comes from AIG Poseidon and in Chinese, 波塞顿. And they say, "Wonderful. I'm so looking forward to this. Thank you." And the next one comes from San W. Chu. It says, "Awesome. I like your sharing so much. I look forward to the update. Thank you." Oh, thank you. Thank you. And the next one comes from Jason and the Argonauts 88, which says, "This is the best mythology podcast I've found so far." Cool. Okay, thanks a lot. And please keep supporting us. And now the comments on First Story. Minotaur1234 says, "This is a wonderful podcast, perfect for kids my age." Okay, yeah, thanks a lot. And I need to give a shout out to my English tutor, Teacher Alex. Woo! Okay, so you guys grab some water, get some snacks, and we'll be back in a few seconds. Okay, so we're back, and we're just doing number 6, and there's 12. So for his 6th Heracles was sent to a dark forest near Lake Stymphalian, where a flock of terrifying birds had taken over. These weren't just normal birds. Oh no! These were Stymphalian birds with bronze beaks and razor-sharp feathers, so loud they could shatter glass, so deadly their feathers could cut through armor, and they pooped poison from the sky. The people nearby couldn't farm or live in peace. Every time they stepped outside, they were attacked by it from above. Heracles entered the swampy forest, but it was so sick with the trees and the vines that he couldn't even see the birds to shoot them. So who came to help? The goddess Athena, goddess of wisdom, battle strategy, and a lot of things. She gave Heracles a special gift. 2 bronze clappers made by the god Hephaestus. When Heracles clanged them together, clang, 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 the sound was so loud it echoed through the trees and scared the birds into the sky. Once they flew up, Heracles took aim with his bow and arrows, remember tipped with Hydra poison, and shot them down one by one. The rest of the birds flew far away and never came back. King Eurystheus had to count it. Labor 6 complete. We're doing a lot of things these days. King Eurystheus now sent Heracles across the sea, all the way to the island of Crete, ruled by King Minos. His task, bring me the mighty Cretan bull, the king said. But this wasn't just any bull. It was a giant, swirling, fire-breathing bull sent by Poseidon! Woo! Himself. Here's the story. Poseidon had given this bull to King Minos, expecting him to sacrifice it in thanks. But we're just gonna call him Minos. Minos. And Minos thought the bull was too beautiful, so he kept it instead. Big mistake. Poseidon, furious at being disrespected, which is perfectly natural, cursed the bull, turning it wild, dangerous, and full of rage. The beast burned fields, trampled homes, and terrified Crete. When Heracles arrived, the bull was rampaging near the shore, snorting steam from its nose. Heracles didn't use a sword. He didn't use fire. He ran straight at it, dodged its horns, grabbed its neck, and with pure strength wrestled it to the ground. The bull bucked and kicked, but Heracles never let go. He finally tied his legs, calmed it down, and sailed it back to Greece. King Eurystheus took one look at the angry bull and said, "No thanks." Heracles released the bull into the wild, and later it caused more chaos in Athens before being defeated by another hero, Theseus. We'll talk about him in later episodes. 7 labors down and 5 to go. We're going pretty slow, and look at the time. It's 24 minutes. Wow. I know it's very, very long, and it was supposed to be a 2-part story, but actually I am going to continue the story while breaking it into 2 parts, so it'll be part 1, part 2, and part 3, and I'll record it and upload it at the same moment. So, yeah. Okay, see you next part. Bye. My name is Ariel, I'm 10 years old, and I'll see you next episode.